Think about investing in short-term rentals. Before you dive in, discover how to pick the right market to maximize profits and avoid costly mistakes. Owning a short-term rental property can be an excellent way to get into real estate investing and potentially earn higher income if done properly. Being a successful short-term rental owner requires an in-depth analysis of the local short-term rental market. This market research should include occupancy rates, monthly rental income, the cost of buying the home, local regulations, fees, and the types of tenants you hope to attract. It's vital to remember that investing in short-term rentals has more nuances than long-term rental investing. For example, it can be tricky to predict monthly income, and there can be significant seasonal variations in the market, especially here in Iowa. In addition, the laws and regulations affecting short-term rental owners can be more stringent than traditional rental properties and can vary significantly from market to market. However, if you do the groundwork properly, you will soon enjoy passive income from short-term rentals. In this video, you will learn what it takes to enjoy good cash flow and return on investment from a short-term or vacation rental property. First, let's cover what a short-term rental is. A short-term rental is a property that is rented out for a short period of time, usually between 1 and 30 days. Usually rented out through online platforms like Airbnb or VRBO. They can include apartments, houses, rooms, or even boats, RVs, and other unique properties. The purpose of a short-term rental property is typically for accommodation during travel as an alternative to traditional hotels or motels. But why would you invest in short-term rental real estate? Short-term rentals can be extremely profitable. Compared to long-term rentals, the return on investment can be greater and provide a higher annual revenue. Additionally, the STR market is a hedge against inflation because you can adjust your rental prices more nimbly. There is also more flexibility with STR properties. Here are 3 benefits of real estate investing in vacational rental homes. Nightly rates are typically higher than month-to-month rates. You get more control over who you allow in the property, and the ability to market the property to a global audience. Of course, like with any real estate investment, several variables affect the annual revenue potential. Therefore, due diligence in analyzing a short-term rental market is crucial. This way, you can help ensure steady cash flow and excellent appreciation in property value. So let's go over what to look for in a healthy short-term rental market. How can you discover the best short-term rental markets? First, we will explore factors like best locations, target market, rental demand, local regulations, and seasonality. And stay tuned, as in the second part of this video, I cover how we analyze STR markets regarding profitability, calculating occupancy rates, your expenses, and other financial variables that you'll find. Number 1, let's cover the most important step first, the location. The best properties for short-term rentals are in locations that naturally attract visitors, whether for business or leisure. Therefore, looking for towns and cities near beaches, popular attractions, mountains, universities, national parks, or places of interest is an excellent start. Also, don't forget about big cities that attract thousands of visitors yearly. For first-time real estate investors, looking for properties in non-urban areas near popular locations can usually yield pretty good results. Other considerations regarding good properties include access to public transport, a good selection of shops and restaurants nearby, and being located in an appealing neighborhood. A good view always helps too. Number 2, another important step to remember is the demand for short-term rentals. As with any real estate market, supply and demand are 2 of the most vital factors to ensure a good ROI. Ideally, your chosen market should have a steady flow of visitors. Therefore, check the demand for short-term rental accommodation in the high and low seasons, which brings us to our next point. Number 3, determine the seasonality. Seasonality refers to the fluctuations in supply and demand of properties in specific locations or markets at different times of the year. Most short-term rental markets have a low season or quiet period when demand falls. Here in Des Moines, October to April are normally slower due to the cold weather. So depending on the location, the short-term rental market experiences several variables. So here are a few good examples. Beach areas. Seasonality depends on the location, but some areas like Florida and California can see high demand for vacation homes from late winter to early fall. And other areas may peak from late spring until late summer. And you have mountain resorts. Vacation rentals in the mountains typically peak from December to March during the ski season. However, they are also popular from late spring until fall for tourists wanting to explore the mountains. Then you have lake areas. The demand for rental units in the most popular lake destinations tends to be in the summer, with families looking for weekend getaways or long summer breaks. And believe it or not, desert areas. Vacation homes in desert areas tend to see a peak in demand during winter months when it's cold in northern regions but not too hot in the desert. And then you have popular cities. Large cities that attract tourists can have a high demand for short-term rental accommodation throughout the year. Easy access to local attractions, public transport, and restaurants are crucial in these markets. Seasonality is an important factor when evaluating a short-term rental market. Income from short-term rentals tends to decrease during low demand periods. Therefore, rental income from the peak season should be enough to get you through the quiet periods. But of course, you could devise innovative ways to market your rental during the slower periods. Number 4, what is your target market? When analyzing the profitability of the rental market, it's also good to evaluate your target market. For example, older couples may want a home away from home experience in a vacation house with the facilities of a traditional hotel, while others want a large house with several bathrooms. Then there are rentals that offer a unique small scale experience like glamping in a yurt or a bell tent. Number 5, remember to research market specific regulations for short-term rentals. One of the most challenging aspects of the vacation rental marketplace are the rules, regulations, and zoning restrictions. For example, some towns and jurisdictions place restrictions on Airbnb type rentals, and it may be necessary to obtain the correct permits and licenses before listing a vacation home. Therefore, due diligence on short-term rental market regulations is crucial. Here are some examples of the kinds of regulations you may encounter. Restrictions on the number of nights property owners can rent out their house. Certain zones limit the number of short-term rentals. Homeowners must obtain certain licenses, which normally aren't too difficult. And then some towns even ban short-term rentals altogether in residential areas. It is also good to note that local rules and legislation on the short-term rental market can change. Therefore, it's good to have an exit strategy if managing a rental property becomes unprofitable and unviable. Let's go over a few ideal property types. There are several types of properties to consider when getting started in the vacation rental business. For example, you could buy a cheap property to fix up and rent out. However, you will have rehab costs to consider. Or you could look for something that's called turnkey that could offer instant income, which brings us to our first example. Number 1, the turnkey short-term rental. A turnkey property is fully prepared and ready to rent out. This type of property means that you don't have any rehabbing to do whatsoever. Therefore, you all have almost instant rental income because guests can start living there immediately. In some cases, a property management company already takes care of the day-to-day running of the property, making the transition super easy. One thing to consider is the higher purchase price of a turnkey short-term rental property. This usually results in a lower return on investment. However, it provides the fastest investment returns, which should be counted in your due diligence period as there will be no holding costs. Number 2, a good start to short-term rental real estate investing is by house hacking. House hacking involves buying a property in a desirable location and renting out part of it to travelers, tourists, business people, or temporary visitors. Popular house hacking options include converting a garage or your basement, or buying a multifamily unit like a duplex, triplex, or quadplex. Of course, if you are house hacking to invest in the short-term rental market, you must analyze the local trends for occupancy rates, demand, and seasonality. There are also other factors to consider. For example, will you buy a second home and make that your primary residence? If so, you could qualify for a good FHA loan deal. Is there demand in your local area to rent out your current home to provide steady income? Or what about selling your current home to finance the purchase of the new home? Number 3, then there is the second home as a vacation rental property. Some homeowners become vacation rental landlords by buying a second home in a destination location like the Smoky Mountains. Being a second homeowner allows you to use the home in off-peak seasons and rent it out during in-demand tourist seasons. Before we get to the fun part of analyzing short-term rental markets, please hit the like and subscribe buttons down below as it lets me know which content that you would like to see more of. Now, let's get to the fun part. So, how to analyze the short-term vacation rental market. Once you determine suitable locations for buying a vacation home, you must crunch the numbers. The best short-term rental markets should have high demand, high occupancy rates, favorable STR regulations, and excellent cash-on-cash returns. The best way to analyze the market's health is to conduct thorough rental research. What are the key factors to ensure the vacation home or apartment is a good investment opportunity? Here are some essential short-term rental analytics to get your valuable insights into a specific area. Use the AirDNA Rentalizer. The AirDNA calculator is a helpful AI tool for analyzing the potential for short-term rental investing. This handy tool tracks performance metrics for millions of Airbnb and VRBO properties across the country. The results include data on average daily rates, historical occupancy rates, and revenue for a particular location. Using the AirDNA Rentalizer tool gives you all the information you need to analyze STR markets. You get enough information to predict rental growth and demand and determine the impact of seasonality. To get a more in-depth STR market analysis, consider upgrading to AirDNA's paid plan. This gives access to all the industry insights you require to make an informed decision. However, AirDNA can be expensive when analyzing multiple markets, like state or countrywide STR markets. The good news is that you can harness analytical data from two of the best short-term rental sites, Airbnb and VRBO, for free. Let's go over analyzing short-term rentals with Airbnb and VRBO. It is possible to get enough analytical data from VRBO and Airbnb to help make an informed investment decision. For example, you can look at comparable properties to gather data, then use a spreadsheet to organize that data and compare the metrics and analyze the results. Some real estate investors prefer analyzing short-term rental markets on VRBO and Airbnb because it gives a better feel for the market. You can easily look at comparable properties, their location, and what they offer. One of the most important metrics to look at is the average occupancy rate. The average occupancy rate is a key factor when analyzing the profitability of an investment property. You can attain this percentage by dividing the number of nights a vacation home is occupied by the number of available nights. According to some figures, an average occupancy rate of around 50% is considered good. 40 to 50% is fairly standard here in the Des Moines metro, depending on the type of property and the amenities it has. Occupancy rates are more important to the STR business than in long-term rental industry. This is because they depend on demand, seasonality, competition, nightly rates, and other factors. For example, a higher occupancy rate in a ski resort would be necessary during the peak winter season than during the summer. Then there's the cost to buy a short-term rental. When considering purchasing an investment property and renting it short-term, you must do your due diligence on the following. What financing are you going to use? What's the potential cap rate or net operating income divided by the purchase price? What is the possible cash-on-cash return? And look at the annual property appreciation. In this respect, there is no difference between real estate investing and the long-term rental market. Estimate monthly revenue from vacation rentals. Assessing revenue potential from short-term rental properties can be more challenging than during traditional rentals. The two primary metrics to analyze are the occupancy rate and what's called your ADR, or average daily rate. In most STR markets, these figures impact each other. So more to keep in mind is your expenses like turnover costs between stays, fees, and the taxes will affect your total gross revenue. To assess your revenue potential, multiply the occupancy rate as a percentage by the number of days in the month. Then multiply this by your average daily rate. Some real estate investors maximize revenue by lowering their ADR, or average daily rate, during quiet periods. Other investors continuously analyze the local rental market and ensure that their ADR is always a few dollars lower than their competitors. This calculation can increase occupancy rates by ensuring a steady stream of paying guests. This can also be automated using software like Price Labs, where it will move the rates up and down based on your competition. If they start getting booked, your rates will actually increase for people to book. Factors influencing rental rates include the following: how the property is marketed, quality of online reviews. This is huge for the algorithms on Airbnb and VRBO. How pet friendly the property is, on-site amenities like hot tub, pool, an outdoor grill, or like a children's play area. Now let's talk about how we calculate the fees and expenses. Estimating relevant fees and expenses is critical when analyzing an STR market. Here's the information on some of the expenses you can expect when investing in an STR property. Taxes. Property taxes will typically be the same as a traditional rental. However, taxes change from state to state, and depending on STR regulations, there may be extra expenses with running a vacation rental. Like some markets are actually switching to commercial tax rates. Then you have mortgage payments. If this is your first rental property investment, be aware that interest rates will be more expensive for purchasing a rental property than a personal residence. Additionally, the lender may require a larger down payment when financing real estate investments. Then there's furnishing the home. Furnishing a vacation home can be a significant expense that investors commonly underestimate. Always buy good quality, durable furniture. We always say buy nice or buy thrice. meaning if you skimp on quality furniture the first time, it'll cost you more in the long run when you have to keep reordering the following sets. So also don't forget the cost of linens, towels, and kitchen equipment. Higher quality furnishings can also generate higher daily rates and get you better online reviews. Then you have the utilities. You must calculate all the utilities into the average daily rate. And remember that guests may not be as economical with energy as they are in their own place, so budget accordingly. Then you have repairs and maintenance. Wear and tear in a vacation home can be significantly higher than in a long-term rental. Plan to reserve at least 10% of revenue to keep your rental in good repair and well-maintained. Then you have your insurance. Always get the best deal on insurance in case of property damage by guests for fire, flood, and natural disasters. And one that's commonly overlooked is the booking fees. You will have to pay fees if you market your vacation home on popular sites like Airbnb and VRBO. The fees typically include like a commission and payment processing. So however, you may have to pay a little extra for cancellation protection and property damage protection. Then you have property management fees. Many times us investors utilize another company or operator that takes care of all the front and back end items of the rental, from taking reservations and emailing and onboarding guests to the actual cleaning and turnover of the property. There are other considerations when looking to invest in short-term rentals. Real estate investing in the STR market has several unique operating expenses. Because of the higher turnover of guests, you must invest more into the maintaining of the property, and many of these expenses cannot be charged to guests. You'll have to budget them in. It's also good to consider that self-managing a short-term rental property is quite time-consuming. For example, you must manage the bookings, contact the guests, restock all the inventory, and deal with the minor repairs. Additionally, it's necessary to clean the property, launder linen and towels, and change the beds. Most of this can be done with a great cleaning service and contractor, but you'll still be managing them. So really consider how much time you can dedicate to keeping the property well maintained. That is why many STR investors consider using property management companies. Now let's cover short-term rental property management. A property management company can handle the day-to-day running of an STR business. This includes handling the bookings, cleaning, maintenance, communicating with guests, marketing, and any issues that come up. The cost of using a property management company normally ranges between 15 and 30% of the gross rents in the STR world. You have your house cleaners. Cleaning costs can be a significant expense when running an STR business. You should consider hiring your own cleaners and paying them an hourly or fixed rate. To get this price, research several comparable rentals in the area to note the cleaning fees, then use the figures to get the average price. Some short-stay rental sites allow hosts to add on cleaning fees that are charged directly to the guests, but just be aware that transparent fees are starting to anger guests as they aren't as openly displayed on the homepages of Airbnb and VRBO. Now let's go over an important final step: your exit strategy. When investing in real estate in the STR market, it's always good to have an exit strategy in mind. This could include reverting back to long-term rentals, and reasons for this would include lower demand for short-term rentals than you originally anticipated. Local regulations on short-stay rentals change, making it no longer profitable to keep the property. The LTR market provides a more stable income, which may be something you're looking for. And if you're lacking in time, long-term rentals may take less time to manage. In most cases, your short-term rental is already furnished and in a desirable location. In some instances, similar to a business, you can sell your short-term rental or the portfolio of multiple for a multiple of the revenue. The short-term rental market has many opportunities to make lucrative real estate investments. However, many factors are unique to the STR market. As we've covered, these include occupancy rates, seasonality, average daily rates or ADR, and our local regulations. Therefore, we real estate investors put a lot of work into short-term rental market analysis to ensure regular cash flow and an excellent ROI. If you like this video and are looking to learn more about short-term rentals or looking to grow your short-term rental portfolio, I'll leave my number down below, so feel free to reach out anytime. I look forward to hearing from you.